Eco9 is sponsored by your Washington area Toyota dealers.
In tonight's Eco9 report, we're talking about federal workforce cuts and their impact on our environment.
Yeah, so we know firings at the National Park Service have raised concerns about how parks will be maintained and kept safe for visitors. Some parks have already made changes because of staffing shortages.
Meteorologist Michaela Lucero takes us to Rock Creek Park to learn more about what's at stake.
National parks here in the D.C. region, they're a part of people's everyday lives.
Washington, D.C. is home to more than 30 national parks, all of which are maintained by the National Park Service.
The National Park Service as an agency was already understaffed and underfunded.
Nearly 1,000 national park employees have been laid off across the U.S., and the impact of these cuts is already being felt here at home. Ed Sturley with the National Parks Conservation Association shares his concerns.
In a park like Rock Creek Park or other areas around here, not having less staff in a park means that people might do damage to some of the natural resources. They might create things like called social trails, where they create trails in places where they shouldn't be, and that can damage trees, plants, as well as have impacts on wildlife as well.
The environmental impacts don't stop there. With fewer staff to maintain the parks and trails, pollution has become an even bigger issue.
It can have really damaging and lasting consequences. One thing we see is an uptick in pollution, whether it be trash pollution or otherwise, that can lead to water pollution, whether it be in the Anacostia or Potomac rivers. That's something we're really concerned about.
Rock Creek Park's 1,700-acre forest is already showing significant signs of distress. There aren't enough baby trees growing to replace the older ones that are dying. The Rock Creek Conservancy has partnered with the National Park Service for years to help restore and maintain this beloved park. But Amanda Leiter with the Conservancy says those restoration efforts are now in jeopardy.
We had counted on both funding from the Park Service and also Park Service staff to help us scale those pilot projects forest-wide so that we could really restore the entirety of the Rock Creek Forest. But without a steady stream of funding and without the Park Service staff, those efforts are doomed to fail.
Our national parks bring in nearly $2 billion in economic spending from more than 54 million visitors each year. But with further budget cuts on the horizon, concerns about our long-term environmental health of our parks are growing.
You know, plants are not political. Plants don't stop growing just because funding is under review.
If you plan on visiting one of our nation's national parks this year, expect longer wait times to get into the park, fewer available facilities like visitor centers and bathrooms, and more negative impacts to native plants and animals. From Rock Creek Park, I'm meteorologist Michaela Lucero, WUSA 9.